Hello my crafty loving friends, welcome to Repurposed My Way. I'm Shelly. Today we're going to do some unique upcycles and repurposed projects, and the last project, stick around and wait. It's going to be so primitive and fun, I can't wait for you to see it. Let's get started. This first project I finally pulled out of my stash and decided what to do with it. It was actually a lamp and it was all broken, so I had taken it apart and set it in my stash and just kind of forgotten about it. Well, I dragged it out and decided that I was going to give it a nice, beautiful 2 coats of this green paint. This is cardamom green from DWIL Paint. I'll have a link down in the description. I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'm pulling out my IOD mold. This is a sunflower mold. It's one of my favorites from IOD. I like to use this a lot on projects. So I'm going to just add some cornstarch in there so that my clay does not stick to the mold, and I'm only going to do half of the sunflower. I don't want to do the whole thing, so I'm just going to put a little bit on there. I'm going to use my roller to really get it down into those details and get that clay spread out nice and thin, and get the excess off there of the clay, and then poof, it's going to pop right out because of that cornstarch. Once it's out, I want to get a nice straight line down on the bottom, so I'm just taking a razor blade and I'm just scraping it across there to cut off the excess on the bottom. And then I'm going to just clean up some of the petals here and there where there's excess clay. I'm going to flip over the lamp, the previous lamp, until I find the hole where the cord came through, and that's where I'm going to cover it up with this sunflower. So I'm gonna just add some wood glue to the back of my mold, and then I'm going to put that on the bottom. I'm just going to fold over the petals where they're a little bit too wide for the base and just wrap those around, and the glue will hold that. And once that's done, I'm going to start painting. So I'm going to take some mustard colored paint, go over the petals, and give them 2 coats of the mustard paint all over. Then once I'm done with that, I'm going to take some black paint and go over the middle and make it look like little black seeds are in there, and just dab that on. I'm going to then go in with my antique wax and go over that and fill in where there was some white and things like that, so that I can get the antiqued look in the middle as well. Then I'm just going to take my brush and gently go over the petals and give them an antiqued look. Just spread it around. I want these to look a little bit aged, so I'm just going to keep going over it until I'm happy with what it looks like. I then decided to go over the whole piece with antique wax, and so I covered it all and then wiped it back with a cloth. Once I had it fully wiped back the way I liked it, I took some black paint and went around the edges, and I thought maybe that I was finished with this project, but I have one more thing up my sleeve. I thought I was done with this project, but I actually found something that I wanted to use on it. So I found this stamp, Dawn House, maybe Hauser stamp, and it's just got all this writing and stuff on it. So I thought that would look really good, kind of randomly put all around this. So I'm going to ink it up. Found this at a flea market for $2, and I'm always looking for little stamps like this with writing on them, and I usually don't find them, so I picked it right up as soon as I saw it because I knew that I wanted it. So I'm going to just kind of stamp off some of the writing because I don't want it too dark. That may have been too much. And I'm just going to try it, see what it looks like. Oh yeah, still got some on there. That's good. Okay, now I'm gonna try doing it around the sunflower a little bit. Nice. I think this is gonna add some nice, a nice look to this. I don't want it too bright because I've already put the antiquing wax on it and stuff, but I thought it would look cool just with this around it. I think that does look pretty neat. Put some more. Well, I got a little bit. I can tell I've got some ink down here. Let's see if I can use that somewhere. I'd like to put some up on this part here. It's going to be kind of upside down though, so I guess I can't do that one. Let's flip it. Ink it up again. And stamp it off again. Just a little bit, just because I don't want it too crazy bright. That's cool. That I got a double, kind of like a double stamp on there a little bit, but that's all right. So let's see. Let's go back to the front and put a little bit, see if I can get it so you can see. Put a little bit up here. Let's do it like that. Oh yeah, that looks cool. Kind of like that. So I think that looks really neat with my sunflower. So I'm going to continue on and do that all around and just kind of randomly put it in spots and see how it comes out. I dug this apple picture and frame out of my stash, and I wanted to use it for my calendar pictures that I have. That I had a calendar that I bought from last year, and I love the pictures, and I don't want to throw it away, so I'm trying to reuse the pictures in some of my frames. So I'm going to take this one apart, clean it up, and then I'm going to paint the frame that pretty DWIL green, the cardamom green. I'm going to give that 2 coats of the green and let it dry. I picked out this really pretty daisy picture out of my calendar, and I'm just rubbing it around the edges of my apple picture to get the correct size, and then I'm going to cut it out like this, and it's all ready to be Mod Podged down onto the board. So I'm just going to completely cover it with the Mod Podge and then add my picture to the top of it. Once I got the picture down the way I liked it, I went over the top of it with some Mod Podge to seal it in. Then I grabbed my frame since it was dry, and now I'm going to distress around the edges. I like to distress down to the raw wood, so when I use my antique wax over the top, it will darken up that wood and make it look really nice and rich. So of course, the next step is going to be my antique wax. I'm going to go over that with my brush, and then I will go ahead and wipe it back with a paper towel until I am happy with the look of it. I'm going to then put this all back together and just going to glue it in and then staple it once it is glued in so that it won't move on me, and then this piece is finished. If you're enjoying the video and you haven't yet, go down and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell. That'll let you know anytime I have an upload. I found 4 of these plates. They're from Pier 1. They are like a crackle plate, and they're really fun to decorate with. So I am going to take these, and of course my transfer that I absolutely love right now, it's the Vintage Rustic transfer from Redesign with Prima, and I picked out a few different pieces that I wanted to use on a couple of these plates. I thought these would look really cool with the crackle background with these on top. So I'm just going to clean them up and then add the transfer, rub it on, and we're going to see what it's going to look like. Really love how this came out, and it actually went on really nicely. So these colors I think play well together. I really love the crackle background, so I didn't even have to make a faux background for it at all. So I liked it so much I decided to do another plate, the second one of the same color, and I just grabbed another one of those transfers, and I'm going to also put that one down. And again, this one came out so nicely that I decided to do the other 2 plates, but I thought I'd dig around and find some new transfers to use. Okay, I also have this one from Redesign. This is Lovely Ledger, and it's beautiful script and some bees and flowers. It's 3 pieces. This is what it looks like all together. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I think I'm going to cut out this bee and then maybe this flower up here, and we're going to put that on these plates. So I have a little piece that didn't stick, it popped up. You just line it back up the best you can and just rub it till hopefully it sticks. There we go. There we go. The bigger part of these transfers really stick on well. It's the little itty bitty pieces that don't like to stick. But that is cute. It's a little off center, but that's okay. I think that's cute. I could get there's some writing and stuff. I could get some writing and kind of put it down here just to make it look like it was intentional. Okay, and this last one, I just cut out this one here with some flowers and some writing. And it was at the bottom of the sheet, so it got cut off. But I'm gonna see if I can find the other part of that and maybe add it in. So I did find some writing that I think will finish this off. And see if I can get it down. Oop. Little tail came off. Get down there. Here we go. There's a little bit of a line there, but that's okay. There, that kind of finishes that off a little bit. That is cute. Okay, so I am going to put some clear wax on these just to help them stick and stay down. I'm going to use my finger because I can feel where the edges are on it, and I don't want to go onto the plate. So I know that I can do it with my finger and feel where those edges are. I'll set that aside for a few minutes, and I'll just keep doing all of these. This one I already did, and so I'm just going to go back and wipe it. Just rub it in. I left it on there for a few minutes. There. So that seals in that transfer. We're gonna let those sit, and I'm gonna go on and do the rest of these and get them sealed in. This one is going to be fun. This is one that we're going to build a vignette with several different things. So I got these at my free area at my dump. If anybody doesn't know what that is, it is a place over at my dump that has slightly used items that people don't want anymore, but they're still good and they don't want to throw them away. So sometimes we go over, we grab things that we could use, and I sometimes find things that I can upcycle and repurpose quite often. So I'm just going to take the stickers off and the hangers, and I'm going to give them 2 coats of the black paint. We're going to do 1 coat, let it dry, and then the second coat we're going to go in and leave it while it's wet. We're going to use the grubby mix that I have to give this a faux beeswax primitive look. So I'm going to use the wet paint to stick my grubby mix to it. I will have a link down in the description on how I make my grubby mix and what I use it on. I've made several videos about this, so you can use it with glue, with Mod Podge, all kinds of things. Sometimes I like to use it with just paint. So I just coated it to my liking, not so that it was completely covered, but just so you could still see some of that black through. And I'm going to do that to all of them and then set them back down to dry. I want to keep the leaves on the apples, but I don't want them to be so green and bright. So I'm going to use a little bit of Mod Podge. I'm going to do the underneath of the leaf and then add my grubby mix to that. And then I'm going to add it to the top of the leaf and add my grubby mix to that. And then I'll set those aside to dry so that I can seal them in once they're done. This is the Rust-Oleum Clear Matte Sealer that I use, and I'm just going to spray all of these. I'm just showing you with one, but I'm going to take them all on a tray and just do it all at once. But I'm just going to seal those in a little bit and then move on to the next project. The next thing that goes along with these grubby primitive apples is an apple spice mix label that I came up with, and I printed it out, and I'm going to use it on some of this tea-dyed material that I have. I'm going to make some little bags to add these labels to. So I just figured out the size that I wanted by putting the label on there, and then I'm going to cut a few of them out to get them ready to add the label. The first thing I did was flip them inside out so that I could glue them together. You could sew them if you wanted to, but glue is right here, right handy and ready to go. So I'm just going to glue around the edges, the bottom and the side, and then I'm going to leave the top open, and I'm going to leave a little bit on the top not glued so that I can either roll it down or just make it look a little bit like it's kind of ripped open a little bit, and it's going to be tied at the top, so I just want to leave that open so that it has some room. Once the glue is dry, I'm going to take my bag and I'm going to flip it the right side out so that I can then add my cute little label. So here is my label, and I'm going to flip it upside down and put some Mod Podge on the back of it. I also cut out a little piece of cardboard to go in between the bag, so the 2 pieces of the bag, so that I wouldn't end up gluing it together. So I'm just going to completely cover all the way to the edges with the Mod Podge on the label, and then we're going to add that to my bag. These came out so stinking cute. I absolutely love how they look. Once I got the label on, I then wanted to cover it and seal it in with the Mod Podge on the top. So I did that, careful not to get it on the bag, although it would have been fine. I really just wanted it on the label to make sure that it would stay down. And it also gives it a nice little seal on the top so that it feels kind of like a little label you know, little plasticky label that's stuck on there. So I really like how that worked. Once that label's dry, I'm going in with some small white beans to fill up the bottom a little bit, to weight it, make it so that it will stand up really nicely and you can see that label. So I filled it up as much as I felt like it would look good, and then I started adding some stuffing to go inside to make my bag look full. So I just did that until I was happy with what it looked like, and made sure that it would still close up nicely. And then I grabbed some twine and I'm gonna just wrap it around until it's tied with a couple of knots. Then I have a dried orange that I wanted to put on there. I'd love to put on a dried apple, but I didn't have any. But I do have the oranges, and I also have the cinnamon, so I thought they would look kind of cute. So I put those on there, tied them on with the string, and I think this finishes this little bag off so cute. I really love how this came out. The next part of the vignette is going to be these little pie plates. I'm going to give them a coat of paint in black and then let those dry and then do a second coat. And while it's wet, I'm going to add the spice mix. Okay, so what I did was I did one sloppy coat all over the pan, not super coverage, not trying to, and let that dry. Then I went in with a second coat, and once that second coat was on and still wet, just like with the apples, I just sprinkled a little bit of my grubby mixture on here. If you were using cinnamon, you could use that as well. And so it just gives it a little bit of a grungy, grubby feel. So that's why I did that, to fit in with the rest of what I'm going to be doing. So now that those are done, I've taken this spray, I took them outside, I gave them a good spray and sealed them in. You're still gonna get, you know, when you touch it, when you bump it, you're still gonna get pieces that are gonna fall off, but they're just big pieces from coffee and things like that, so it won't be too bad. So since these are done, I'm going to start in on my rolling pins and get these finished up. So these two are all finished. They've been painted on the ends, distressed, and then I took the dark stain that I have. It's antique wax with a little bit of black paint, and I mixed it together, and it comes out with this darker stain, so it's not so brown, it's more black. Not a big deal if you use just the antique wax or whatever you have on hand, it's not a big deal. Now I went into my scrap pieces to see if I could find some fabric that I liked on here, and I liked this one. So what I'm gonna do, hopefully my glue gun is working. Still not up to par, I don't think, here. So right in the middle, I'm just going to put this fabric. That's not really the middle. There we go. I hate waiting for my glue gun to heat up. It's like I'm ready right now to use it. Okay, then I'm going to wrap it around until it either just touches or overlaps. Totally up to you how you want to do it. Oops. And then I'm just going to glue it all the way around. Go. There we go. And that overlapped just a little bit, which is fine. Okay, so I got out my little letter stamps. So there's a B, and I got out all the letters that would say fresh baked, and I set them over here. So it comes in a little packet. Can't remember where I got it, but I'll link it if I remember where it goes. Okay, so now I have this piece of fabric that I'm going to just cut down a little bit to go in the front of my, like on the top of my rolling pin. So you could put it over where you glued so you can't even see it. It's totally up to you, or you can turn it so it's right in the center. But what I'm going to do is, before I even put it on there, I'm going to do fresh baked with my little stamps. My little black stamp, the stamp pad comes with it. Oh my word. There we go. Can never get it open. Okay, and I can't find the F. I'm sure it's here somewhere, but I can't find it. So I'm just going to ink up the E and then wipe off the bottom line of the E. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with F, and then R. I try to get inked up really good and stuck in there, you know, stuck right in there so you can see it. There's the E again. There we go. S, where are we? Right there. I don't know which way this S goes. Maybe that way. S, and there's the H. There we go. So it says fresh, and then I'll put baked down at the bottom, and then I will show you what I do after that. All right, there we go. So we've got fresh baked. I'm going to trim this up so it's a little straighter. And I'm going to trim, because it's not like centered, I'm going to trim some off this side because I want to see more of that black and tan checked material also. Okay. So just trim that off, and then I'm just going to go around and take some of the threads out to make it frilled up, frazzled. We want to get it frazzle-dazzled just a little bit. Now you could distress that, ink it up more. This is just from my tea-dyed material, so you don't have to. Now, because I made it smaller, it really doesn't cover that so well. So I'm going to roll my edges down onto the bottom, and I'm going to put this where there's a fresh piece and it looks nice. Okay, so we're just going to put that on there. Try to get it in the center. There we go. And it says fresh baked on our little tiny primitive rolling pin. I love that. So all of our pieces are truly coming together now. So I'm pretty excited. So I'm going to show you, let's see, did I get everything together? Yes. So I'm going to show you what I do with all these pieces. I'm going to bring them all together and show you what I do with them. Okay, so I have some of this shredded paper. You can get this from the party section, like over by the gift bags in Dollar Tree. Okay, so you can buy a bag or two of that, have the basket, and then I'm going to take my little bag, my apple spice mix bag, and I'm going to put it back in this corner. Obviously, if you do something like this, if you have these items, you can decorate it how you want. Then I'm going to start layering in my little apples. I'm going to use 5. I like to use odd numbers in decorating. I was going to do 3, but I feel like 3 just isn't enough. It needs more. Okay, so then I have my little grubbied pie plate. And I'm gonna just tuck this in. I'm gonna move some of this away and tuck it in here. Kind of kitty cornered a little bit, and tuck some of that paper in there. And add my apples. Put one in there too. Then I have my fresh baked rolling pin. I'm gonna kind of tuck in there as well. I have a piece of doily that's been coffee and tea stained, and I thought that would kind of look good hanging off the side, so I just cut it. You could use a whole one if you wanted to and have the whole thing done. So there's that. And then what I want to do is add some greenery, just a little bit here and there, just to fill it in, just to give it some interest. So we're gonna just put some over here, some over there. You can add more if you wanted to, but this is what I'm doing with my little basket. I think this turned out super cute, little vignette, cost very little, and I made it a nice primitive piece. You could wrap the basket in more of the black and tan material, do a little bow or whatever you choose. You could take some burlap and nest it in there and put everything on top of it, and that would look really nice. But this is the little basket. Now I'm gonna have a few of these for sale on my Etsy shop. This whole vignette will be for sale on my Etsy shop. I'm going to try to get my little labels also put on. I'll do a whole page of them. I can't remember, I think it's 9 that comes in a page of that size, and then you can shrink it down, and once you download it, you can do whatever you want with it. But I think this is such a pretty little piece, and I hope you like it. And don't forget to check out my Etsy shop. The link will be down in the description. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out this next video on your screen. I know you're gonna love it.